Good to go. Great. All right. Welcome back to Senate Education. It's Valentine's Day at almost 4 in the afternoon. Going to wrap up our day we have two final agenda items. One is the libraries at Vermont State Colleges, and then we're just going to hear Senator Hewlett has been working on a school construction bill that we're going to have a look at and take some testimony on tomorrow. And then probably vote it down by Friday.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
If not sooner, I'll probably exercise a motion today. But we are hearing, everybody knows, we've read it in the press. I know people's inboxes have been filling up. Concerns and questions about the libraries at the Vermont State Colleges, and to help us better understand what's going on, we have the president and the provost. I don't know why we have underneath their S34, but that doesn't matter. We can okay, great. Okay, no problem at all. Just want to make sure I'm not missing something. Mr. President and provost, are you there?
Yes, I am here. This is
good afternoon. And is the president with you as well?
He was just connected. I see that he's disconnected. I would expect him to reconnect here very shortly.
All right. So welcome, Dr. Atkins, to Senate Education. I think this may be your first time joining us, at least this year. We're pleased to have you. What we're just really hoping for from you and President Grayall is an understanding of really what the plan is with regard to the libraries. As I may have heard me say, our inboxes are filling up and there's a lot of press. So we're just looking for the facts. And if you could provide them to us, that would be great.
Yes, I would be happy to, but I see that President Grayall is now connected, and we'll follow his lead.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
Hear me?
Not really. And we definitely cannot see you. Still there? No, it's not. No, that's back. Oh, no, there we go. There we are. President Grayall, can you see us and hear us?
Can you hear me?
We don't hear you.
And you're freezing.
I don't know if it's possible, Dr. Atkins, for you to take the lead on this, given that President Grayall is not coming through.
Actually, he's just down the hall. I'm going to go grab President Grayall, and he can come down and speak through my connection, if that's okay with you all.
Sure.
Okay, just give me a couple seconds and
okay.
I'll get him connected.
Can we be introduced?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, in the meantime, is the questions been asked? We have a nice crowd of folks here. And do you want to just go around and say your name and maybe if you're connected to the university or maybe? Yeah.
Thomas Randall. I went to Johnson State before I moved in, so I was a frequent user of the library.
Oh, great. Welcome.
My name is Peter Christian. I don't have a connection to the library. I'm with BSTA.
And that stands for?
Vermont State Employees Association.
Great. Yes, please.
I'm Peggy Wesley, I'm with the SEA.
Great.
I'm Bruce King, also with BSDA.
Sir, with the yellow.
I'm Brian Morse with VSEA.
Great,
And Margaret Colley, First Vice President of the SEA.
great. Terrific. Perfect. Mr. President, thanks for joining us. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you okay. Sorry for the mishap. I started to join it through my office. I've been on the Zoom all day, as you know, but for some reason, this connection was not working.
No
So
problem at all.
sorry for the delay.
Would you mind, as we've been talking about, telling us what the plan is for the libraries?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And as you all know that we are undergoing a major transformation, and it is through the agreement in a way of the select committee report, we are building a hybrid university that will be the first statewide hybrid university. The idea for that is to expand access to the university's program and resources, services to the students who cannot afford to come and live on campus, who join us through our online programs and through the satellite sites that we have. We serve the entire state with 17 or so sites where our nursing students and in Killington and other places where they join us. So in line with that, we had announced that we will be building a digital library because to align with our strategic priority, but also based on the information that we have gathered, that the use of the physical material that include books, include other physical material has declined substantially nationally. Now at our university libraries, about 96% of the material that's requested is electronically requested. Only 4% is physically requested. That means physical books and or other materials. So based on that, our emphasis would be to build our capacity so that we could go serve more students, more staff and faculty, and efficiently through a digital library. So that does not mean that we will eliminate all the books or high value materials from the library. As you know that we have donated materials also in the libraries, and we would keep the most frequently used materials that include books and other items in our libraries, but weed out most of the other material that is not being used and have not been used for, say, last 20, 30 years. By doing so, how we will do that, how we will kind of select what we need to keep, we propose engagement with our faculty in different departments to determine what is essential for each and every department to serve their students, what academic programs they run. And then we have also proposed that we will work with students, we will work with our campus communities to transform those laboratory, the lab spaces, library spaces, to create more learning spaces that could be for individual students and or for them to do group work. We will also enhance technology. We will not only maintain the computers and printers that we provide in the libraries currently, but we will further increase those opportunities. We would also work with our community to create more like a community commons type of spaces and add student services to the libraries. So it's basically modernizing the library, enhancing access of the library information, the material, to all our students, whether they are on campus or not, and keeping certain frequently used materials in the libraries in a smaller portion. That is basically our proposal for the libraries moving forward.
We have a question, a few questions. I'm going to start with Senator Hewlett and then Senator Hashim.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was a librarian for quite a few years, and I completely understand that weeding is a part of good curation of a collection, and it's the job of a librarian to do some weeding. So when I heard you say that, it resonated with me. I did a massive weeding at one of my libraries. We had books that were written, for example, about Nixon before Watergate, that said what a great guy he was. So that kind of book, it had to go. We also had books that never circulated. They also were taking up really valuable space that I wanted to use for student engagement, student interactions. We made a maker space, for example. So I understand that physical books can really take up a lot of space. Having said that, I don't know if you've spoken to Champlain College, but I think it was 20 years ago, they did a massive update of their library and removed almost all of the books and went to a digital library. And over the course of some years, they ended up bringing some physical books back in because they just saw that there was actually a space for that and a need in the community for students, faculty, etc. So if you haven't spoken with them, I hope you do, because I think that would be really important. And I was just hoping you could speak to it. Are you doing a weeding? Is that what is happening? Or is it something bigger than that? If you could just speak a little bit more to that, that'd be helpful.
That's a very, very good question. And thank you for the suggestion, especially for me to reach out to Champlain College to, hear their experience with that. Absolutely, you are correct that weeding is a normal part of the library work every year that is being done on, most libraries. This project would be a little bit bigger than just the weeding part that we normally do. Because moving forward, we have to be very conscious because we are under $25 million in structural deficit. We are going to be acquiring more and more or serving students through digital means. So the reduction here could be bigger than just the normal weeding. But it will be in consultation with the faculty. It will be data-driven. That means those materials that are more frequently utilized, relied upon, those would be maintained. And others we would not continue to keep. Our data also shows that maintenance of our physical resources, the books, is about 30% of the cost of our budget for the library. So that is also kind of the books just sitting there not used are also is a cost.
Thank you.
Senator Hashim and then Senator Weeks.
Thank you, President Graywall. So I have a whole lot of questions, and I don't think I'm going to be able to fit them in 5 minutes. So I'll just try to stick with a few. So I'm kind of confused. Is this expanding the hybridization, or is this reducing the library capacity? I'm kind of unclear as to what is actually happening.
So we are proposing both, right? We have to expand the digitization, that component, so that we could provide the materials as more and more students and everybody wants that material. the second piece is that we have, books from, a lot of books that are not being used. So we will go systematically working with faculty in each department to reduce the number of those books that are not being utilized. So it's kind of two-pronged approach.
And since this is kind of an expansion, is this going to be creating more jobs for anyone?
So the jobs will shift in a way that less and less physical work, physical maintenance and or books that are cataloged in a physical way, but more additions would be more towards the digitization, because 96% of our material is requested that way. And we will keep our librarians. Every campus will have at least one professional librarian who will continue to serve our students, who will continue to work with faculty. And on top of that, our mission moving forward is also that these librarians work with our faculty to find open access resources to replace the expensive textbooks. As you know, affordability is one of the key components of the new university, and the board really highlights that aspect. So we would be reducing the cost of our textbooks by working with faculty in each department. That would be this library.
Okay, so just on the job space, is it safe to say no one's losing their job or getting laid off? Is that safe to say?
No, that's not safe to say, because we, based on our proposal, we would need to eliminate 7 full-time jobs and 3 part-time positions or temporary positions. And those are not professional librarians, but staff that have been supporting this physical work. We have notified them, and we have also encouraged them to apply for jobs within the institution that are currently open, and jobs that we will be opening as we move forward with our staffing decisions.
And
Please.
one last question. From the viewpoint of the students, what type of weight are you giving their views when it comes to this decision?
Right. So we have gotten information from the students. We did a small survey of the students. But more importantly, I've been going to every campus and listening to the students and the faculty and staff about this decision. Most students that I have spoken to, they have highlighted that the ambient of the library is important. The use of that space is important for them. Sometimes not even, reading the books, but to do their work. But they have also highlighted that I need a physical book. I learn better with a particular, physical material. So, and some have highlighted that I have some learning disability. I don't do as well using digitized material. So I have heard them, and our response to that is that we are going to be keeping most important, most commonly used books for every discipline. We would also, by law, also required that we have to meet, if somebody has a disability, if they need a physical book, then we would provide that physical book to them.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. So first off, thank you for the overview. It's very helpful. If you can articulate just briefly what you intend that the current library facility will evolve into if this plan moves forward.
Right. So as you can imagine, the library will still look like a library. The library building, we want to keep it as a library and call it as a library as well, library and learning center perhaps, and a librarian will be in there as well. So the new configuration of the space would be finding nationally renowned renovations that have occurred in different libraries and coming up with better places for students to learn. Individual students, group students, putting in more technology, innovative spaces, and creating a community commons type of environment. It will stay as the heart of the campus on each campus, and it will actually further attract students to these spaces in the library. They will be able to access the physical books that will still be there, but at the same time connect digitally and do their work as they tend to do. One student sitting in Castleton the other day, when I just finished a session with the students in person, sent me an email that I'm sitting in Castleton Library right now, and I have logged in more hours than any other person in this library because I use it so much. But yes, I agree with you. He told me that this space needs to be, innovation is needed. We need to improve the library.
Are the hours of operation going to stay the same? Is the alumni still going to be able to access those physical books?
Yes, absolutely. We will keep the library hours open because, as you know, residential students also come and go in and out. Another part to the library is hiring lots of work study students who work in these places. We would not only maintain those positions, we would actually expand the number of students that could be hired in different departments. That's one of our other goals, because we know students that actually get employment on the library, on the university campus, they have a higher success rate. They are retained better, they graduate on time, they get lots of applied learning experience.
Thank you, President Greenwald.
You're welcome.
Any other questions right now or concerns as it relates to this issue?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We appreciate your time and better understanding the situation. I think we'll leave it there for now. And then, of course, if anything else arises, if we have a question, we will certainly reach out to you and your staff.
Right, absolutely. And as you can imagine, this is one of our major decisions. It's a hard decision, and you know that we have to make some hard decisions in order to meet our budget cut requirements as well. We are using this opportunity to address both issues in a way of realigning the budget, but also enhancing the space and student experience, enhance accessibility and affordability. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, you all too. Bye-bye.
Vince, I did see that they have the Aluzzi papers that were stored at Johnson up for sale on eBay. I went in at $2.
Thank you.
But time will tell. Thank you. We'll be in touch. Yeah, thank you very much. Why don't we,
Whole house in here.
I know, it's a popular place.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think the library closure, something we could talk about a bit more potentially. It's disconcerting to know there's a dozen or so people who are probably going to lose their job. And from a lot of students who voiced concern, yeah, I think it might be worth discussing a little bit more at least.
yeah,
Some
sure,
point.
happy to.
Yeah.
If you have somebody in particular that you'd like to hear from related to that, I mean, one thing I can just tell you from where I'm sitting, excuse me. And I don't know if the committee agrees with this or not. I mean, we generally don't legislate,
Right.
get involved with the day-to-day operations. For example, UVM last year, the year before, eliminated certain programs,
Right.
the liberal arts curriculum. There was a push for us to intervene and say, hey, we need those programs, the Latin program, whatever it was. And we did. So that's what I hesitate. That being said, if there are people that you would like to hear from on this issue that would be helpful, please.
Yeah, I mean, if the door is closed from us possibly legislating anything to keep the libraries as they are and help them expand, then
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to waste time. But if there's something that we can do potentially, could be
Kind of keep it
worthwhile
open
exploring.
as is.
Yeah, as is, but also,
Yeah.
I mean, also, trying to go along with what the president is trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because I think it makes sense to also expand hybridization, which is great for students who are on different satellite campuses or
Yeah.
far away from a library. But I mean,
One question that wasn't asked was, how much are you saving?
That's,
That
I was,
meant to
I
ask.
thought that was gonna come from you. I didn't ask.
He did say 25 million in deficit. That's what, so that was his answer, not that he quantified this particular line item.
But he has a $25 million deficit.
And which we well know.
So how much is this gonna save? What?
I said, you could give him some money.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of what you're wondering.
Be-
right? I
right,
mean,
yeah.
is there a way for us to work with them to kind of keep the employees there and still be innovative, et cetera? That's kind of what you're,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'd like to explore a little bit.
yeah.
I mean, I don't wanna just say, I don't wanna tell the president, hey, what you're doing is wrong. I wanna
Right.
try working and collaborating to figure out what we can do.
I don't want to grandstand.
Yeah.
But I would like to repeat
Yeah.
that the president mentioned his 96% of material all being retrieved electronically. To me, that resonated. That's not something I'd heard before today, now. But anyway, that's just something to reflect on.
Wait, repeat that. What was it exactly?
96% of materials at the library
Mhm.
were electronically retrieved, not physically retrieved.
Didn't know that.
That was,
Must have missed that part.
I don't want to profess to have any answers, but I do, last I knew, there was a dearth of school librarians. So I'm not, again, not saying this could be a solution, but there is a possibility of other jobs possibly available out in the ecosystem for librarians who just
maybe within their own campus too.
maybe, right. I don't know, so just
Yeah, I don't have a line in the sand or anything with this issue. I just think it's based on feedback, the very energetic feedback I've gotten from people. It just seems, so.
You might, if ask, and I, again, wish I had, it sounds like you can apply, so you're losing your job, but you can apply for a new position.
Yeah.
Is there anything they can do to sort of help that transition? Are we talking about, a big pay cut, if you take a different position, that kind of thing might go, so.
Yeah.
So I think which typically happens is the rumor got out there was a overreaction, maybe some misinformation. I think what I heard today really clarifies what's going on. The physical building is going to stay there. It's going to be open. People can still go in and take books out. And he's repurposing the books that are going to be pulled out of there. He's going to donate them, from what I read, to other libraries in the area. So.
And I believe, Senator Hewlett, you sent a link to the VPR piece. I haven't heard it, but I think he might.
Very much the same.
Very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, take this hot seat. Introduce yourself for the record.
Senator Hewlett, Vice Chair, Senate Education. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So I'm here, you have a copy of it's not even complete yet, but it's a beginning draft that Rebecca Wasserman has been helping me with. And it was sort of created at the behest of the state, our treasurer, and some other folks.
I
Because,
guess Vermonter isn't interested.
I know.
No offense, no offense. Yeah, I'm sure it's just going home to watch it.
I'll tune back.
Yeah.
no, it's okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty passionate about school buildings. I feel that at the very least, we need to have safe, accessible buildings for our students and our faculty and staff, who are sometimes the biggest employers in our regions. Very often they are, actually. So safe, accessible, good air quality. We could go on and on, lighting, et cetera, et cetera. This is sort of where this is coming from. I do want to remind you all that we had really good testimony from Rhode Island as a model of one way to sort of crack this nut and get things moving. And I don't know about you all, but I was pretty daunted by the work that they have had to do to really fix their schools. I mean, it seemed like a massive undertaking that takes years and years, but it seems like they are making progress. And so as much as I was daunted by that testimony, I was also sort of excited and just looking forward to how we could maybe try to make it work for us or make parts of it work for us. So, I mean, Act 72 is something that's already in place. And if you haven't read it, I recommend that you do, because it lays out a lot of work around school construction and
We had a walkthrough.
what it will look like. Yeah. So the piece that was missing really was around the task force, which is an important piece of the work. So you can read this, feel free to read it. But my question to you really at this point is, if you look at the makeup of the task force, who's missing? Who would you like to see on the task force? I think that's something that maybe we should think about and consider.
Yeah.
And then I was hoping, and I think the treasurer agrees with this, and hopefully the Secretary of Education agrees, that this task force might even be able to start getting together and convening this summer, so that in October, when that bill comes out, people can sort of hit the ground running and really start digging into the meat of the work.
What does the task force do exactly? Is that looking for funding? Is it?
It's in here, but the task force basically will take that report that comes out in October. Yeah, and really run with it on all the various
So
levels.
develop like a strategic plan.
Yeah, I know, it's big work.
I thought that the report was going to be kind of a strategic plan, no? The Act 72 report?
It will have some of that, and it'll have a lot of findings in it, but the task force is, well, what we heard from Rhode Island, right? That group, and they have a really massive group with all kinds of, I mean, you guys remember, it's like, I don't know, like the governor and senators and reps and all kinds of folks in the community. And they meet regularly to do everything from look at the needs, who is at the top of the list for needs and if that should change, and what kinds of accessibility requirements need to go in or don't need to go in. They're all weighing in from their various points of view on how to tackle the problem. So that is, and frankly, it's something that our treasurer really wants. So I feel like we should probably go with that.
Yeah, so I'm just concerned that we may be reproducing effort. Is there anything in Act 72 that lays this out?
I think this is what maybe is missing from Act 72. Is that accurate? It might have been either maybe an oversight on the legislature's part or something, but it sounds like Rhode Island has this piece and it was essential, and Act 72 doesn't have this group of people, correct me if I'm wrong, that would take the plan and kind of run with it.
Yeah, and I wasn't here when Act 72 came into being, but was it modeled? Was this modeled after Rhode Island?
I don't remember hearing any testimony.
So.
I don't think so.
Right, I don't think so. So I do think the task force is a piece of the Rhode Island process that, yeah.
I like it,
we-
but the concern I got is that,
You just want to make sure we don't do.
right, well, not only that, but I had my barber is on a school board
Yeah.
in a local school district, and said, he's concerned about the evaluation when it comes out, who's gonna pay for it? How?
Oh, sure, no question.
Is that-
We're all,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
So, and how are you gonna prioritize which school needs it more than the next?
Right.
So that task force,
Yeah.
that'd be a good mission for them
Yeah.
too.
And I think we'll see in Act 72, I could be wrong, you could ask Ledge Council, we'll see like a prioritization of like what buildings I think need it. First and foremost. And by the way, next week, we are going to hear from Agency of Natural Resources and Energy. Matt Chapman's going to be in for an update on where things are with PCB testing. And as you'll learn, it's.
Well, that's his concern,
Yeah,
because
right,
if they find PCBs, how are we gonna pay
yeah,
to mitigate?
Yeah.
Or,
So I guess my ask to our committee is just to really be thinking about who should be on the task force. And make sure we sort of really think deeply about, do we have all the right stakeholders in there? And is there anyone else that we should be thinking about?
and we're going to hear from the V's tomorrow on this. So that will also be helpful.
The V's?
The V's, the Vermont Association of Principals, Superintendents, and that's what we generally. And they have a copy of this.
Getting the lingo. Education language.
Jargon.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay. Thanks.
how
That
did
was
I
great.
do?
good.
Yeah?